Good morning, kiddos. We started our unit 2 talking about functions, something that you guys learned on 8th grade, and we're just going to refresh your mind for today about different type of function and the plots, tables, graph, and mapping. So let's do the definition as always that we do first. A function is a relation or rule that assigns each input, we're going to talk about it a lot, exactly one output. Anytime you have input, you should have output. So meaning each x value is paired with exactly one value. A graph that is a function will pass so if we're not dealing with x and y, we're dealing with graph, then we do vertical line test, where any vertical line drawn on the graph will pass through only how many points? 1 point. So let's do some example. It says determine if each representation is a function by writing yes or no, justify your answer. So I'm going to say the easiest way when you're working on a set of numbers or table is just underline your x. We only care about x because each input should have only exactly one output or y, right? So the x shouldn't repeat it. Over here we see we have 10, 4, 12, and 3, so they're not repeated, so we say yes. Each input has exactly one output. Now, same thing with table. I'm just gonna underline my x to know which one I'm dealing with. Over here, we have negative 0.2. Over here, these two are repeated. So we have to say, okay, that means each input doesn't have exactly one output. Because this input has 6, this input, same input or x has negative 0.9. So we're going to say no. The input of negative 0.2 has two different outputs. So I'm just going to say function for this one and not a function for this one. Now over here, we're not dealing with numbers, we're dealing with the graph. So whenever we have a graph, we have to draw a vertical line. If we have more than 1 point on that graph, then that's not a function. So over here, we have 1 point, 2 point, 3 point that passes through this graph and stays on that vertical line. So we're going to say, okay, this is more than 1 point, so this one is not a function. So no. The graph does not pass the vertical line test. Over here, on this one, again, we're not dealing with numbers, we're dealing with graph. So I'm going to draw a vertical line again. Over here, on this graph, on that vertical line, only one point passes or cross, and it stays on that line. So this one is a function because we only have one point. So we're going to say, yes, it is a function. The graph passes the vertical line test. Over here again, I'm just going to underline my X to know which one I'm dealing with, which one I care more, which one will show me if it's a function or not, and it's X points. Do I have any repeating number here? No. So if there's not repeating number for X, I'm going to say yes. Then I'm just going to put this one again. Each input has exactly one output. Then we get to the mapping. In mapping part, the way that I always tell my students, I say, okay, you see that this X coordinate has 2 output. So this one input has 2 output. Okay? If it's so hard to see it, so because it has 1 input and 2 outputs, this is not a function. But if it's so hard to see, let's just put it in a set of numbers. Say 6 and 15, 6 and 9, 12 and 27, 12 and 21, right? That's all the numbers that we have in this mapping. And then you come and you underline your X's again. See if you have any repeating X. We have multiple, so it would be not a function because we have the input that has more than one output. Okay? Thank you.